Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. So the Daily Mail has just published some photographs of a red-headed woman younger than Barry Morphew, as well as some video footage of him being arrested on the side of the road. Someone driving by actually captured that footage. And so we faced with once again a scenario of possibly a motive of money in terms of the house being sold, which happened in the Scott Peterson case as well, Chris Watts case, and then also the possibility certainly of another woman. At this point we're not sure of her identity. It could be a relative, but the fact that she was in a hotel room, they were having dinner, they were arguing animatedly, according to the Daily Mail, is all a bit bizarre. So if we look at some of the circumstances that have happened so far, the house has just been sold about a month ago, and then in February, which is not very long ago, probably around about the time Barry must have been thinking, I think I did it, as in I think I'm free, I'm not going to get into trouble, the coast is clear. You have this scenario where he's taking this woman out to dinner. Now the question really is, was he seeing this woman at the time that he was still married, at the time that Suzanne was still alive, or was he seeing some other woman? What is this lady's story? Of course, we haven't heard from Suzanne's daughters or Barry's daughters either, Mallory and Macy. They've maintained a studied silence throughout, trying to, I guess, protect their privacy, trying to protect their identity. But one wonders also what they've made of all of this. And what do you make of Barry's face just in the booking photo, in the sort of mugshot photo? He looks pretty weary. He looks as though he's lost weight. He looks as though he's quite sunburnt. And he's once again got that furrowed brow that he had when he addressed the camera, when he made his Facebook plea about a week after Suzanne's disappearance. But there is something lurking behind that look, just a sense of, it's difficult to verbalize, just a sense of impending doom, that it was all for nothing kind of thing. There's a sense of him feeling caught out. And I do think it's pretty clever the way the police play this. They seem to do very little, and then it creates an impression that they don't know anything, that they don't have anything. And this, of course, leads to the suspect possibly making mistakes, possibly playing loose and fast with whatever it is that they want to do. And so something like Barry going to eat out with this lady is something that doesn't help his case. If the case goes to trial, he's going to need to explain that, and possibly she's going to be called as a witness. So a couple of things I just want to mention. One is the age of Suzanne when she disappeared, probably when she died on May 10th, 49 years old. It's the sort of age, I think, where, and I'm sorry if it offends people to say this, but I think it's the sort of age where women feel a little bit insecure about their appearance, that they're no longer spring chickens. A man may feel the same, and it's very unfair. I mean, it's unfair. I mean, what about when the man's the same age? One thing I did think in terms of both Barry and Suzanne is that they're a good-looking couple. Both of them have kind of got movie star good looks. And one wonders whether that sort of thing didn't go to Barry's head, and Barry decided, you know what, I could do better, or something like that. And I just think that he felt that perhaps he's getting older and he wants another bite at the cherry, so to speak. And perhaps that was part of the reason he wanted to get rid of Suzanne. Now, the other side of the coin is, a lot of people have been saying on Patreon, why not just get a divorce? You don't just ask that question, you should answer it as well. And I think for Barry, just as with Chris Watts and Patrick Frazee, they made the calculations and decided, it was more worthwhile committing murder than getting a divorce. Divorce is too difficult, too expensive, too costly in various different ways. Murder is something that they can take control of and take control of their destiny, and not only that, it's fast, right? So that is how they made that calculation. I also just want to talk about ego. I think ego is a word that has not been used enough in the Barry Morphew case as well as the Chris Watts case. I think the involvement of a beautiful woman, especially if she's younger, is a boost often to a man's ego. And I think that is the case in this story. I think, especially given Barry's age and the possible mistress's age relative to Suzanne, I think it was something that was almost like something that was irresistible for him. It was something that he felt he just had to do, kind of thing. And that's because of the ego and the link to, I guess, sexual appetite and all things related to one's self-identity. And then the final thing I want to mention is, in the same way that Chris Watts was an oil worker and he used his knowledge of that in part of the disposal of his family, his knowledge of the oil infrastructure. Patrick Frazee did the same in terms of his knowledge of his own farm and ranch and burning animals that he'd probably done previously on the ranch. So in a way he had experience with that. And I think in the same way Barry Morphew probably had experience as a landscaper with opening up the earth and putting things in there. And that's possibly why, if he was involved, why he's been as successful as he has been compared to the other people in Colorado in getting away with charges for as long as he's gotten away with them. I think you can, in a weird way, compare Barry Morphew to Chad Daybell. Chad Daybell was a grave digger, and so you end up with graves on his property of possibly two children. And so you have that link between his experience digging graves and then having a pet cemetery and graves on his property. And so often I think you've got to look at the jobs that people have, a suspect has, and that is going to give you a clue as to their identity and how they're going to probably go about doing their foul deeds. Does that make sense? For those interested in the Watts case, this Sunday I'll be doing a live stream providing a theory of one of my patrons on Patreon. One of the patrons has really put some time in and written out painstakingly what she thinks happened in the Chris Watts case. It's quite interesting. So I'm going to be putting that up, talking to you guys about it in a live stream. It's by a patron called Stephanie. She's quite a lady, but quite an interesting theory she's got there, based to some extent on the discovery, to some extent based on some of my research and ideas, but there are also some of her own unique thoughts there as well. So it should make for some interesting listening. So for those interested, that'll be on Sunday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you guys there. Thank you for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Like, share, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time.